Oh, man, it's starting to fill in the lobby of the Copernicus Center on the northwest side. And I thought rather than interviewing the candidates who are running here because they're running around, I wanted to talk to someone who's running an equally big race. Our friend George Bliss said, I know a candidate who you must talk to. We're talking to Vetress
Boyce.
Vetress, see?
Yes.
Vetress Boyce.
Yes.
Who is running for the aldermanic seat of the 24th Ward. Okay, so why? I've already talked to you for a few minutes off the air, and you sound like somebody who wants to help people.
That's exactly who I am. And I'm not a glutton for punishment. Let me say that before I make the next statement, right?
Sure.
Because this is my third time running.
Okay.
Running against, a strong Democrat candidate, strong in the ward. I ran in 2011. And out of 18 candidates, there were actually 18 candidates in 2011. Yes, okay. Yes. And it was my first time out. And so I placed third to the two incumbent aldermen. And so I ran again in 2015, 10 in a race that time, and I got in a runoff with the incumbent, Michael Scott. But that was his first time running, so he was not the incumbent at the time.
Right.
So it's not like I was running against him. We were both running to be seated in that position. And so I got in a runoff with him then. He stepped down. How about that? Back in April or May. And the mayor appointed his sister. And so the seat is open, and I'm at it again. Third time's a charm,
I love your attitude. The seat is open. That's the thing that people don't realize. They don't follow some of the minutia. For aldermanic seats, the mayor makes appointments. For state seats, the committeemen do. And the people are locked out of the process.
Yes.
Right?
And that is unfair. It's unfair. And unfortunately, the mayor referred to our community as, frankly, lazy, because the residents called out exactly what it was. It was straight nepotism from, the brother to the sister. Come on, politics is not a family business. The people in that area should have their voice. I mean, they have the constitutional right to vote for their elected officials, right?
Sure.
Not selected. So I don't refer to her as the elected official because she was not elected. She's the selected.
Nice.
And now it's time for someone to get elected.
I don't know why I didn't think of that. We went with LaPointed, because her name's Lindsay LaPointe. We called her LaPointed. Anyway, the thing is that when somebody does have the incumbency, though, they have a lot of power behind that. So this is a heavy lift, too.
It's a heavy lift. She's heavily funded. Her brother gave her his war chest. And he actually made a comment, you can Google it, where he said if his sister had not gotten appointed, she would have had a hard time getting elected. So he made that statement. So it's pure nepotism, but you know what? It is what it is. So and you know what? Another thing, he promised that he would support me if he ever stepped down, and he didn't do it. So he didn't keep his word. So, but that's okay.
Yeah, the number of scorpions that we could point at in politics.
Yes.
So let's find out about you.
Yes.
Where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up on the west side of Chicago, lifetime resident in the city of Chicago. I have 6 siblings. I'm the youngest of the 6. Well, I'm the youngest girl of the 6. Spent 25 years in corporate as a VP of operations. We were the middleman for Craftsman Power Tools and W.W. Granger Dayton Power Tools. So I started as the receptionist. I rose to the ranks of VP of operations, and simultaneously to that, I flipped condos in Bronzeville. So real estate developer. I got my real estate license, but get this part, I have 6 adult children.
Come on.
The youngest is 28.
You're not older than 40. What are we talking about here?
6 adult children, 14 grandchildren.
No.
I'm a self-made.
I want your secrets.
I'm a self-made businesswoman as well. I have a beauty supply store in the community, an African-American owned beauty supply store on 16th Street, and we have revamped 16th Street. It went from dark to light once we opened our business there, and now it's a clean area where people feel safe coming. And I've also pushed legislation in the city of Chicago that led to a national movement. That legislation also went to the state, and they voted on it just this November. So, and I've supported.
Tell us about this legislation. What was this?
Reparations.
Hey.
Yes, it's not a very popular topic, but it's a necessary topic.
It is.
It's very, necessary. So, council voted on it in 2020. And so now I'm running and asking the city of Chicago residents to help get me elected so we can put some meat and potatoes behind reparations.
Well, because, a lot of folks there's so many people that they're like, well, don't teach kids about what bad things happened in the past. But it makes a difference in so many communities when there was redlining, there was the denial of access to housing, to education, to business ownership.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
I mean, there has to be some equal, stabilizing factor, because people can't continue to be like, oh, well, that community, they write communities off on the South and West sides.
You have to have lived it. And in one of our reparations sessions, Alderman Haddon said it plain and clear. She said we intentionally disinvested in African American communities in the city of Chicago. When you do the comparison, when you look at Lawndale and you look at Lincoln Park, I remember what Lincoln Park used to look like, but I see what it looks like now, right? And so she publicly made that statement in a council meeting saying that we have intentionally disinvested in it, and now it's time that we repair and do the redress to fix the harm that we've caused in those communities, the devastation. So when we talk about crime spreading all over the city of Chicago, until you fix these issues, it gets worse. So it's impacting the entire city. So the entire city has to come together and let's fix this issue. We can do it. And we can demand help from the state level, the county level, and the federal level. And so that's another reason why I'm running, so that all Chicagoans can feel safe across the city of Chicago, with me as the elected alderman in the 24th ward.
I am dazzled. I am absolutely dazzled by you. We're talking to Vetress Boyce. I'm going to get her name correct, by the way. Everyone listening knows that I'm terrible with names. It's not you
that's okay.
specifically.
But you got it right that time.
Well, that's why I was like, I'm going to hit this one right, because I was thinking about tresses. You were talking about having a salon, and I thought Vetress. I love that.
Absolutely.
But tell us about what communities are in the 24th ward, so that
in the community, due to the remap. Now, we used to be North Lawndale and South Lawndale, but the recent remap, we picked up West Garfield, we picked up Austin, South Lawndale, North Lawndale, and I believe that's it. Those 4 communities make up, I hope I'm not leaving maybe a little bit of East Garfield.
Okay.
So, those are the communities that surround North Lawndale.
And when you were saying that, so we have the selected alderperson right now in office. Yes. How many other candidates are in this race?
7 other candidates, so there are a total of 8.
Okay, so there are other people in the neighborhood who are like, we should have a voice in this.
Absolutely.
And we're having a forum here on the northwest side at the Copernicus Center, and you had one last night.
We had one last night.
How did it go?
It went well.
Okay.
I'm excited about the energy here. So many people are coming in. Yes. And so all the candidates attended except one. Okay. It was hosted by the NAACP. Okay. Ramel Terry, who's the first vice president, and Carl Brinson, who's the president of the NAACP. But I just wish more residents had come out just to hear from each candidate, to make sure that you're picking the candidate that can move the ward forward economically. My platform is economic development. It was economic development in 2011 and 2015. Since the Dow hasn't changed much, very little development. I mean, there are projects on the book, but we need to get those projects finished. So my platform is economic development. And to answer your question, the forum went well, and I got a lot of kudos, and I know for a fact that I did very well, because I can speak to the issues of the community, being born and raised on the west side of Chicago, raising 6 kids, a product of Chicago Public School, a product of a single mom, struggling, an environment that consisted of drugs, prostitution, you name it. We didn't have grass, we had dirt. But to able to put my boots on and pull those straps tight and go to work and be able to have a family and support them on a very high level, and to give back to my community everything that I've learned, and now wanting to represent the community on a political level to show them that you too can be successful. That is why I'm here.
I kind of want you to be my alderperson. I like our candidates. I'm just saying. I am so excited. We were talking to Vetress Boyce. Where can folks go to? We're going to take a break and come back and talk to you some more.
Absolutely.
But tell us where people can visit to learn more about your campaign and how they can support you.
Absolutely. My campaign office is located 4109 West Roosevelt Road. My website is www.boyce, that's BOYCE, FOR, the numbers 24.com. So that's Boyce for 24.com. And you can find me on Facebook. And even if you just Google the name Vetress, spell V as in Victor, E, T as in Tom, R-E-S-S, last name Boyce, B as in boy, O-Y-C-E. If you Google my name, you will see so much of what I've done.
You come up right away.
That's me. That's me.
I just put V-E-T-R, and it was like, do you mean Vetress Boyce.
Even if you Google me on Google Drive, I'm everywhere. You can see past interviews and my work on reparations and community development, business coaching, career coaching, even teaching entrepreneur courses at our grade school, Providence St. Mel.
I'm gonna go on your website right now and make a contribution, folks. This is one of the things that I know it's hard for people to ask is contributing to a campaign. Whatever you can do keeps the momentum going.
Yes.
Gives you the opportunity to support your volunteers and get on doors and send out mailers, make phone calls, phone banking,
money.
Make sure that people know where their polling places are, everything.
Absolutely.
So again, go to boycefor24.com, BOYCEFOR24.com. We're going to continue our conversation with Vetress when we come back after this on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. We are hanging out with the candidate for the 24th Ward, aldermanic seat. We have Vetress Boyce is joining us, and we were just talking about how hard it is for some people to ask for campaign contributions. But it matters because sometimes not just, you want to be smart with your money and how you spend it, but being able to raise that money is also a signal to other people that you're a legitimate candidate.
Absolutely.
Isn't it? Yeah.
And I prefer raising the money than putting my own funds into the kitty. It says that I'm investing in myself and nobody else believes in me, right?
Right.
So we've been very blessed that people believe in us. We have some top contributors like Buddy Bears. We have construction companies. We have just businesses in general that understand and know that I am a businesswoman and that we need more small businesses across the city of Chicago so that we're not eaten up by the big boxes. It's, businesses make up the cornerstone of employment, and we need to keep that in the forefront. It's not the big boxes that dominate with employees. It's the small businesses, and the more small businesses we have in our community, the more fruitful we are, the more jobs we can bring about, and the less crime.
Yeah.
We can go to reduce crime if we continue to invest in small businesses in our communities.
As a businesswoman who has had a brick and mortar location, do you see, as we talk about this on the Northwest side about commercial real estate owners that are absent. It's impossible to get a hold of them, try to find out how to rent out a place. It seems like there's more incentive for empty storefronts because of tax breaks. Do you experience that as well in the 24th Ward?
Yes. We have a different scenario. We have vacant lots.
Yeah.
How about that? So we don't have a lot of empty brick and mortar, and if it's empty, it's to the state where it's almost not habitable, where it probably needs to be torn down and something new rebuilt, or just a complete gut, right? So our problem is vacant lots. So when you drive down Roosevelt Road in 16th Street, the vacant lots has been in existence since the 1968 riot with the death of Dr. Martin Luther King, right? So those lots are still there. And so our issue is vacant lots, and vacant lots yield no tax revenue. So it happens to affect our net worth, our concentrated net worth in that community is affected because we are short on businesses. We have no grocery stores. It's really bad. The schools we had maybe one school shut down, and you should see it. It's so blighted. It's just poverty-stricken, garbage everywhere. So we need help.
And that's, there's so much focus on, people aren't coming back to Michigan Avenue, and there's all these, but that's because we put too much into that rather than uplifting the communities, whether it's through transportation or education. I talk a lot about this because I know that I grew up, I present as white, I'm Latina, but I present, and I know that the choice is whether or not I pass, right? And I choose to let people know, but I also know that I had a lot of opportunities here that other people don't. And for some reason, and I don't want to talk too loudly about my neighborhood, but there is a sense of too bad. But it affects all of us. Kids on the west side and the south side are our kids. You are our neighbor. You are our families. And that's what I want to see, and that's what I hear from you as a candidate.
Absolutely. That's where the investments have to go. That's our future. I want to make sure that when I get older, I'm not concerned about somebody hitting me upside the head or carjacking me, right? So if we don't invest in our youth, our future is demolished, right? So having 6 kids and understanding that and raising 6 productive citizens, I'm so proud of. That's one of my most fondest accomplishment is being a mom and watching my grandchildren, right? So yes, it's going to take investments, and until we realize that to provide the best education equally across the city of Chicago, you can't have it in just one area. You have to spread it abroad with our children. You have children in our community that deal with so much devastation. Yeah. Versus maybe a child in Lincoln Park. So how do we balance the inequality of that? That's one of the things that I'm going to work hard at. And also, as you speak about the black and brown communities, we have the minority portion of the city, right, where they have these minority opportunities and programs. But Caucasian women are also considered minorities. So a lot of what you see, like the contracts, city contracts, opportunities, a lot of times we don't get an opportunity at those contracts because of that.
Right.
So we have to equal the playing field in Chicago. It's time. We're one of the most segregated cities across the country. We need to come together into one group to help move the dial forward. And that's part of my campaign, moving forward, not backwards.
Now I know why George Bliss told me I needed to talk to you. He's like, yeah, meet this woman. So the responsibilities of the aldermanic seat is, we've talked a lot about really important issues, whether it's business development and reparations and education. It's also potholes. It's also garbage cans, and it's so there's a lot of that. But yeah. I think that when we're talking about empty lots, it kind of all goes together as well. If a community is supported both, in a visible way, but also in a personal way, people feel like they're taken care of in a way, right?
Yes. So when you speak about the potholes, the damaged streets, the garbage cans, I mean, we have alleys that have not been fixed in years in the city, and so. In relationship to that, you have the $1.5 million menu money, right? Why aren't aldermen fighting for more money to get these streets and these alleys fixed more expeditiously, right? Capital improvement money. You have very few aldermen that actually put in for more money to help expedite the process and getting these streets and alleys repaired. Street lights. I mean, we have street lights that's been in existence for almost 60 years that needs to be replaced, right?
Yeah.
So the process needs to be taught. Let's prepare a budget, ask for more capital improvement money so we can expeditiously do the repairs that our constituents need, right? In constituency services, that's one of the top priorities of an alderman. You legislate, you do all these other things, you vote on zoning and businesses, but the constituency services part is utterly as important with the garbage cans, making sure things are clean in your community.
Yes.
Chicago is one of the most beautiful cities in this world. I love it. I love being born and raised here, and we have to keep that momentum going.
Pardon me. I don't know why anyone thinks they can call me during my show. So the election obviously coming up on February 28th.
Yes.
But people have started early voting.
Yes, downtown Chicago. And early votes start February 13th within the wards. So
super sites are open now.
Yes.
And if you go to Vetress Boyce's website.
Yes.
So it's
Boyce 424. .com.
Exactly, and you can find out about your polling places there as well.
Yes,
excellent.
absolutely.
I love that you share this so that folks know, because a lot of folks are like, I don't even know. They keep moving. You have new communities in your ward because of the remap.
Yes,
right?
It's been remapped, and we've gone from almost 41 precincts down to 19. So in the from 41 precincts to 19, which is good for candidates, right? So you don't need as many people to cover. But with the gubernatorial election, people didn't know where to go vote. Right. So it was a phase to get people ready for the upcoming election on February 28th. So now people know where they can go to vote. Hopefully we can get a greater voter turnout. We can get people morales, because that's my job, to make sure this election is exciting. Every election that I've been in, and this is the third, has been exciting. I believe I bring the momentum and a challenge for candidates to step their game up, learn the policies, learn politics, not just, everybody has passion.
Right.
But what do you know politically? What do you know about politics? What do you know about business? What do you know about education, development? Those are the things that you need to know going in City Hall. And it's great that I even have reputations and relationships in City Council already. Yep. So going in, creating that team of people that want to fight, come together, and make sure that the issues in Chicago are dealt with, I'm ready. I am ready for that job.
You certainly are. I almost feel bad. Like, I want to ask you more questions, because I'm like, I want you to be my alderperson. Do you see, is this, I know that you've run the third time, so it's not like you were looking for any race. This is, you could have run for state seats and things like that, but you're committed to the hyper-local, aren't you?
I am. I want to be close to the people. I don't want to travel to Springfield. I don't want to travel to D.C. I want to be here where people can reach me, where they can touch me. Yep. I want an aldermanic office that runs like a well-oiled machine. Like being in corporate, right? Your accounting department, your shipping and receiving department, your marketing and sales department makes up the fabric of that business, right? And so in a ward, you should have various people that can handle every aspect of business as it relates to the 24th ward. And then you want a state-of-the-art office where people feel good good coming to. Quality service. I mean, I'm a well-dresser, right? I live pretty decently, and so my ward needs to be a reflection of who I am as a person, as the alderman, so that people feel good about coming to the ward. They feel good about coming to the ward office, and their service is top-notch, top-tier, and that is what I plan to do.
And the thing is that you mentioned earlier you love Chicago, you love being from here and living here. You, as you mentioned, are a successful businesswoman. You could have gone and gotten more land and lived out in the suburbs or lived and you choose to be a part of the change and improving the community for others, don't you?
And it touched my heart that you say that, because I say it all the time. I could live where I want to live, but why live in areas where I'm not wanted or needed? I'm wanted and needed where I am. And little black girls can see me as a reflection to say, I can be her. And that is why I stay where I am today. And every little girl on my block, believe it or not, graduated from college.
Wow.
Yes.
That is impactful. You are a force of nature.
Thank you.
You really are. I want to wish you the very best. And I want to talk to you. I'd love to touch base with you. I know that you're at least going to I feel that this is, there's so many great things coming. And I look forward to talking to you again.
Absolutely.
Are you going to stay and check out our crazy searches over? You are?
I want to listen. I like listening to the different issues across the city of Chicago, because at the end of the day, we all want the same thing, right? We want thriving families, thriving communities. We want to be safe. We want quality education. We want to shop in our communities. We want grocery stores. And we just want to live and be happy and healthy. But sometimes there are different things that plague different communities. So listening helps me to understand as a council member how to help the 44th ward.
45th,
Yeah, how to help downtown Chicago. And collectively, that can help the 24th ward. So I like to sit in and hear these things. Absolutely. Absolutely.
The other thing is that one of these candidates would be someone that you are working with when you're in City Hall. So that'll you'll be watching going like, which one of these people do I want to work with? What do they bring into the table? Well, you bring everything to the table, and I look forward to talking to you again. I know that we'll be talking to you again soon. If you want to reach out and remind people in the next couple weeks, but call. So I know that I don't want to drag you out of your community.
Yes.
You've got to be on the doors, on the phone, getting people out to vote. But you have so much energy.
Thank you.
The 24th ward would be so lucky. They are lucky to have you, but now they need you in City Hall.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you, Vetress Boyce.
Thank you.
Go to Boyce424.com. We'll take a break here and check in with some of the folks at the Copernicus Center, where we're here for the 45th Ward Aldermanic Forum. It's starting at 7 o'clock, and the bar is open, so I'm happy about